This video forms part of our consultation exercise for an application we have made to the Secretary of State for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. It is for a non-material change to our development consent order here at Hinkley Point C. Ordinarily, we would hold a public exhibition in the community so that we could talk to members of the public and our stakeholders, but this is not possible due to the current coronavirus pandemic. We hope this video provides a helpful alternative alongside the plans and our application statements, which you will find on our website. The changes we are proposing are all to the operational layout of the main power station here at Hinkley Point C. They come about because of learning from other plants in our EDF fleet, because of updated safety and security protocols, because we have optimized the design of some of our buildings, and because we need to retain the heavy lift crane here until the end of the construction period. The changes we are proposing fall into 4 categories. We have some new buildings, we are relocating some buildings, some of the buildings we are deleting because they are no longer required, and some of the buildings are getting slightly larger. New buildings. 3 new buildings are proposed within our application. A new emergency response centre, which would house the site's emergency control centre and provide an alternative access control point in the case of an emergency. A new emergency response energy centre, which would house diesel generators and fuel in case of an emergency. And a backup emergency equipment store, which replaces the emergency response store. These buildings have been co-located on the layout plan to provide a base for responding to an emergency situation. Relocated buildings. The oil and grease, storage and oil ancillary building is required prior to Unit 1 of the power station generating electricity, and so in order to allow us to retain the heavy lift crane to complete Unit 2, this building has been moved to the location previously occupied by the emergency response store, which has been renamed and has been moved alongside the other emergency response buildings. Deleted buildings. Following a review, the separate building known as the EDF site offices are no longer required, and all office-based personnel will be located together in the operational service centre. The entry relay building and the off-site vehicle search area are proposed to be combined into one new off-site delivery checkpoint, where all visitors will report and all postal deliveries will be made. In addition to these buildings, which are no longer required, the application proposes to delete the permanent helipad following a safety review. The previous location was deemed too close to the power station and overhead lines. Instead, we will designate a landing area outside of the operational power station, away from buildings and overhead lines, for helicopters to land in the case of an emergency situation. Larger buildings. Further, more detailed design work has taken place, and this has resulted in the need to slightly increase the size of buildings known as the filtering debris recovery pits, one for each unit, and the permanent sewage treatment plant. The recovery pits require some additional equipment which is outside the size parameters previously approved. The sewage treatment works design has evolved sufficiently to allow us to show the series of tanks and structures which together make up the treatment works. Buildings which are reverting back to the approved location. Within the application previous to this, changes were proposed to the interim spent fuel store at Hinkley Point C. These changes were not approved within that application, and so the plans for this application show the previously approved location for the interim spent fuel store itself, as well as its access control building and the equipment store. Our preferred option remains to make changes to these buildings, but they are not required until after the power station has been operational, and so we have decided not to include these proposals within this application. Our application includes a range of assessments against a series of environmental topics, including a landscape and visual impact assessment. Our conclusion is that there are no material differences between the effects as assessed in the original application and our current proposal. If you would like to formally comment on our application, you need to send your representations to the Planning Inspectorate so that they can be considered by the Secretary of State. As I mentioned, all of the plans and application statement, alongside a link to the Planning Inspectorate's website where you will also find the material, are available on our website. Our application material in hard copy is available for inspection at our facility in Cannington Court.